Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Good Question Friday's episode of 50% Facts. And we have special guests. Have we done? Oh, we did one with Dean. Maybe.
Yeah, we did.
I was going to say, you're going to be the first.
But you're the second.
You're the second.
Female. First female.
For sure.
First, yeah, that's absolutely.
Pro.
For
Sorry.
sure the first. Yeah, that was a weird flex, dude. Just because
See,
your dots beats me,
I
you get
try
a
to
little
be-
confident. And now
I try
you're
to
just,
build some esteem, and then I just come off as cocky.
Yeah, you overflowed it. That's fucked.
I have to find the balance.
Just because I'm weak.
You're rubbing off on me. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm cocky for no reason. We got Avi here, Third
Hello.
Street member and pro powerlifter, 5th place podium at the USAPL. Still new to the game, really though.
Yes, thank you.
When we were talking about it, you're like, "Oh, I did 3 meets." I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Because you lift very professionally, like you train very hard, you train to a T, and your technique's really, really good. That's how I can kind of tell how long someone's been training. And then you remind me of COVID, and that's why you couldn't compete as much as you wanted, which makes sense because you've been training,
Yeah.
but just not the
that's
platform experience.
one of the best compliments. It's like, I don't care if I'm not the strongest, but if you say my form and technique is good, I'm like, yes.
Me
'cause-
too.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
I'm weak, I just try to lift pretty.
That makes me as well.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Because at some point,
a good
if you,
technical lifter, but that's pretty much.
yeah, at some point, if you put in the effort, and this is gonna piss people off, I did a little stupid TikTok. TikTok has like Q&As that the world could answer. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like you can put a question out there and anybody can respond to it. And one of them's like, say something that'll piss everybody off, kind of deal. You know, like
Hot take.
yeah, like a hot take. And mine was that genetics always beat hard work. And people got so mad, but they just don't understand. Like I don't think they've played elite sports or have been around pro athletes or talked to pro athletes, but it's just fact. And I don't care what anyone fucking says. There's no argument or logic that you can come against me. And then they're like, well, average genetics working really hard and just slightly better genetics kind of working hard. I'm like, dude, we're not talking about these random semantics that you want. Why is everyone in the fucking NBA average height 6'6"? And that's one tiny piece of genetics that we have zero, and we're not even digging into epigenetics, right? Like flipping on switches is a whole nother game if you're coordinated or not. There's limits to this stuff, and powerlifting's the same. So when you talk about having really good technique, there is some genetics there, right? Like how coordinated or body awareness, some of that's tied in, but a lot of effort can be made to improve your technique. And if you do the same sets and reps as someone with freak genetics, they're going to lift a lot more fucking weight than you.
Yeah, I am not well coordinated as a person. I can fall down in the middle of a room. However, with enough reps, I was good at executing the lifts very technically, for sure.
And just to answer this TikTok hater here, he probably doesn't listen to this. He's probably just a rando troll. He wasn't a troll. He was dead serious. And I think he was a kid, so I do feel bad in some instances. But what he did say, he's like, and like I brought up other instances. I was like, I've worked with pro athletes, powerlifters, pro regular sports, high school athletes, college athletes for 15 years. And he's like, well, I hope you don't tell your high school athletes that their hard work's not going anywhere. And I'm like, no, dude. I'm not saying this is my coaching technique to go into a room and say, hey, you have no fucking shot. You got no fucking shot. You got no fucking shot. We can all optimize our potential in genetics. And because of epigenetics, you don't know what those genetics are. Like something like powerlifting. Basketball, yeah. You're going to be 6'6" or not. Right? We can visually see that. But you don't know how strong you are until you start to give your body the stimulus. There's a lot of people that don't look, quote-unquote, strong, even though you are pretty jacked, that absolutely smash fucking weights. And you don't know that until you start training.
Maybe that's what adds to my imposter syndrome, where it's like...
But you're actually jacked, too.
Yeah, well, the
You're
thing
just
is,
little.
the smaller the person that you are in stature, the bigger you have to be to look big.
For sure. I mean, even me. And I got like a decent amount of muscle. I know like I don't pose fucking nudies in perfect lighting, but like I'm a pretty big dude. You know, like when a lot of people see me like, oh, damn, you got some muscle on you. Like I'm 200 pounds and not fat. But
He's got a big ass, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
That's
like
the answer.
I definitely have a power build, you know, and some muscle on me, but without the right pictures or the right clothing, unless you're 260 IFBB style,
Right.
you don't really look jacked.
Right.
And we're obviously a little bit tainted because we're all in the industry. But, yeah, to that little kid, no, I don't tell people what their limits are. And I'm not trying to doubt their potential because you don't know it until you play. There's been people in the NBA, even semi-recently, that are 5'8". Genetics just means the coordination. The thing, there's untangible there's untangible genetics, right? Like mentality, et cetera, and then there's epigenetics that we don't know until you start to shoot the ball and like, wow, that motherfucker doesn't miss. You know, like there's things of that nature. But that pissed everybody off. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know either, but I have
maybe her and her freakness. I don't know where it started. TikTok pissed me off. That kid pissed me off.
I have a pivot into question.
Yeah. Give us a little segues.
So you were talking about rants, and I actually went on a rant last night, and I gave some people some instruction, some cues, and they actually followed them.
That's nice.
At 11:45 last night, motherfuckers had big ass exploding fireworks in the house. I mean, in the park right next to my house, like one house away.
Yeah.
It was setting off car alarms.
Oh damn! I heard each one of those you have right now in California is a $5,000 fine.
It should be.
No, $5,000.
It should be.
Yeah, but who's going to regulate that?
If you were out there at midnight or near midnight blowing shit up, setting off car alarms, fuck you on the horse you rode in on.
Yeah.
So I have this 1,000,000 candlewatt flashlight or spotlight. I went out there and just like bathed the whole place and said, "Get the fuck out of the park, go home."
They probably thought you were a cop.
And they
That's
did.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And they did. They left. They like, gone.
Yeah.
Not one more explosion.
That's good.
So they took my cue and they went. So this question.
This is the question,
smooth.
Coach Avi.
That was really smooth.
This question is the best and actually it's what are some coaching cues that you hate the most or completely disagree with?
What's your most hated powerlifting cue or coaching cue, or one that you disagree with the most?
There's not so many that I hate, but there's just so many cues to think about.
Yeah, there are. And so for those that don't know, like a cue or something is something, a word or quick phrase that your coach would say to you to try to get you to display a different style of movement, and this works for every sport. But powerlifting is just so black and white. It makes it a little bit easier to talk and coach about. What I think, Avi's thinking, let her give the first disagreeable one. But what I think people misinterpret about cues in general, because everyone asks, like, Mike, what are you thinking when you squat, or what's your favorite cue? Cues are, yes, there's some that are very general and that may work for many or may work for most, but they are very individual. And a lot of it only really works when you have a relationship with that athlete. We talked about in the previous episode with Avi on choosing weights for someone at a meet, handling someone at a meet. The more you know the lifter, the better it is. So a cue I'm going to give Dan, who I was coaching, and he was squatting every single day right next to me. I say one word. That's because in between sets, I describe to him what I want him to do. Hey, Dan, I really want you to try to work on working your foot this way, this, and that. And when I say, I'm reminding you to do X. And so then I yell that word when he's unracking the thing, triggers something in his brain, and he fixes it. Some are more direct. There's internal and like external cues. So some are more, skipping A to get to B. And then some are just telling them B, right? Like get tight is the most common powerlifting thing ever. And for a newer lifter who you've never described Valsalva maneuver and all these things to, or explain tightness in your upper back during a squat, or how to maneuver your lats and shoulders during deadlift, if you've never explained those things and you're just screaming at someone to get tight, that means absolutely nothing, and you're not going to get the end result we're all looking for. If it's someone you've coached and they know Valsalva and you just notice that their back's looking a little wonky, or you notice there's some, their core's not engaged like you want, yelling get tight may work.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of all the ones that we used to hear all the time back in the day.
That's all mine.
The one that has always irritated me the most, I think, is back. When someone's squatting, back. Yeah, that was very much in the geared era. Yeah. But the weird thing about it is that it used to be a near the end of the range of motion cue. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, it became a instantly the knees break. Same instant the knees break cue. Yeah. So you would hear 35 backs, and before the person actually gets the up from their coach.
It's such a different game when you're in a squat suit. Multiply and single ply, but mostly multiply, because like that was a big discussion in raw lifting like 8 years ago, whether you break at the knees or hip first. Yeah. And a lot of raw lifters, like, you don't even need to think about that, but in gear lifting you do. You have to break at the knee, because if you break at the hip first, you're literally going to fall forward and fall. Right. But depending on where the bar placement is on raw lifting, that's not always the case. again, blanket statement, I say break it both at the same time. But if you're stupid upright, like someone maybe like a Bryce Lewis, or even how I squat kind of, you could break at the knees first, or think that way, or visually it sees that way. But what you're thinking and what's happening, that's kind of where we're getting with cues, isn't always the same.
Right.
Because I'm so stout and I got very short thigh bones, my femurs, I can stay very upright and squat very upright. I could think hips back.
But that's not what's really happening.
Yeah, or that's not what you're going to see, or that's not what, it's all just so different. Did you come up with one? What's the most disagreeable one?
I think the one that doesn't work for me, my coach does not give this to me as a cue or anything, but is when you're benching and it used to be bend the bar and now it's like pull the bar apart.
Yeah.
And I can't, I don't understand.
I don't love that either.
I don't or like the whole pinkies thing.
Yeah, like touch your pinkies together, kind of bend the bar.
Or like squeeze them. I don't know. There's
People talk about
bench cues.
People talk about squeezing pinkies with a lat movement too, because there's cues in bodybuilding versus cues in powerlifting versus cues in accessories or whatever. But a lot of bodybuilder guys talk about pulling with your pinkies to engage your lats more. I wonder if that's why people say squeeze your pinkies with bench. I don't even know. I've heard it, but I don't really know.
Yeah, or people have like a lot of, I've heard for bench when they're staying tight and they're driving, like they have leg drive, they'll also like squeeze their glutes. Do you guys do that on bench?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never had glute activation.
But you might be like so wound up that you have a little bit of an
it.
arc. Your glutes maybe, like if your hips are at full range, you can't really squeeze them, right?
Yeah.
Like you're already kind of bowed out.
Right.
You might already be bowed.
Yeah.
But if you're like more of a like a Y stance in your bench, so your feet are out in front of you a little bit, then I'm squeezing the fuck out of my glutes, like I'm doing a hip thrust. That's the motion I'm making to get back on my traps. But if your feet are more under you and your knees are in front of your toes, then you can't really squeeze your glutes because they're already flexed, like you're already fucked. And so I think you wedge yourself in there pretty good. You're kind of fucked.
Right. I guess for most of it, it's just bench. Bench. A lot of people say, or I've heard, that it's a lot of technique and leverages, just finding like specifically what works for you.
For sure.
So
there probably is more variance in a bench. I guess there's kind of two ways to everything, like sumo and conventional are the basic two ways. But in bench, it's kind of similar too. Like, are you a little archy and you go really wide grip, or are you a little bit more flat and you go a little bit more narrow grip?
Or do you need to squeeze the bench with your legs to keep your ass from coming up off of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. I don't know with bench. Because like I'm just not cueing a lot of lower body stuff. We're gonna handle that and get you in a good position, and then hopefully you're just flexed the whole time. Or the other big one is like sinking or not. So like, do you keep your quads and ass flexed the entire time, constant tension, or do you keep them like 40 or 50 to 70% flexed, and then once you kind of like a heave, once you touch, then are you flexing 100% to get a little bit off your chest? Like Dan Green used to bench that way. I bench that way when I'm benching heavy. Versus you're in constant 100% tension and you're kind of controlling that whole touch and then going. A lot of those cues. The bending the bar one you talked about, I think. Can help some folks, like if they super bench flared, but like powerlifting's gone so far. Like I don't see a lot of people like benching like shoulder dislocated, elbow above their nipple type shit anymore. No one really does that. So back in the day, that was a cue we used to get you from elbow chicken winged out to kind of just benching more in a path. And again, more of it has to do with just controlling your shoulder because your shoulder's so mobile.
I think the new bend the bar is pull the bar apart.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I understand where that might tighten up your back, but if you're taking so much tension or focus away from just like fucking pressing the bar, there's very few folks. And again, all these things we're disagreeing on, when I at least do, I don't want to speak for you too, but it's because there are cues that work for the majority. Not a cue that works for everyone, but I think there's some cues that work, like tight. Like if you understand what it means, that's going to help somebody, right? Everyone needs to get tight. There's not one lifter that doesn't need to get tight. But there are lifters, like if you're a closer grip bencher, I would never explain to them to pull the bar apart like a rear face pull. You know what I mean? Because you want your elbows are going to be a little more tucked and you're really like focusing on punching. And punching is a cue that I use with bench sometimes because people lead with the wrong knuckle, and if you can really get the bar in the right place, sometimes you punch with your big knuckles. So not that I'm a fucking karate kid, but I imagine you punch with your big knuckles and not these ones. I don't know actually, to be honest, but I'd imagine. And so I talk about like punching your bench, but I don't really like the pull apart either. The pinkies I'll throw it in the garbage. My biggest one is probably chest up.
That's the other one I was. Yeah.
For anything. Deadlift, they'll say it. Bench actually chest up probably makes more sense, or like sternum up. Yeah. Right. Probably makes the most. But
chest to bar.
Yeah. Chest to bar is not a bad one, right? To like try to get you in that right position. But squat in particular, I think there's 1% of folks that need a little chest up deal. You know, like
probably, yeah.
Like especially again, because I think lifting in our gym, we've talked about it a little bit, but I was talking with another member. I was like, I don't know if we could open 3rd Street like 15 years ago, where it's just an open gym and anyone can come lift. Because like, 1, squatting wasn't as popular, but then 2, people's form was so bad, everyone would be murdering themselves in here. And so like nowadays, like we have lifters like Avi with insane technique that are, you know, basically a 10 out of 10 technique is the lifter and competence. And then we have probably lifters with 6 out of 10, but we don't have a lot below that. Even people like Kyle, our GM, will be like, yeah, that guy's kind of new. He doesn't really know what he's doing. I'll look. And I'm like, pretty good.
It's not so bad.
I'm not running over there scared he's going to kill himself. Yeah. You know, where like I used to see squats in commercial gyms or past CrossFits or any like quote unquote strength gym over the last decade. Then I'm like, damn, that person's about to kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might see it a little more than
in
we
commercial
do.
gyms. Yeah, for sure.
But like here, even the brand new guys, you know, or not super serious powerlifters, 6 out of 10, you know, they're moving. They move fine. Can we improve? For sure.
I agree. I see it too. I'm like, oh, it's not bad. Like,
it's not bad.
Tell they're new.
When Eddie and Seabass are in here, they were like brand new, and I never like was worried about their safety or the equipment safety or anything. You know, like sure, we've had some accidents where people dump bars, but that's just shitty misloading or no clip, or they're just kind of crazy on their walkout. There's going to be chaos. I'm not saying everything's perfect here, but yeah, also, I think chest up. If
you're coming to this like gym,
true,
like, you have a certain level of like understanding.
I thought it would be more though, to be honest. Like I would say 50% of members out there, maybe even more, maybe even 60, don't have a clue about me and Jim or what we do or our background. I don't know if you did. Did you?
When I first started here?
Yeah.
I knew about you, Mike.
Yeah.
And then
probably just
started learning about Jim.
Barbell Brigade or shit, yeah.
Yeah. I did follow Barbell Brigade more closely when I first started.
Not to stereotype your ass.
No, I mean, it's true.
No, it's true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. California and like the Asian community, powerlifting. So I was definitely one of those like Asian girls who used to lift and wear their merch and be like, oh my God, one day I want to be sponsored by Barbell Brigade.
But now you know Bart sucks and I'm better.
Yeah. Now I've like had lunch with Bart and I'm like, he's cool.
He's all right. He's all right, but he's no Mike.
He's no Mike. No.
Yeah, he's okay. The chest up.
Yeah.
Head up's like a lot of people don't say that as much.
Yeah.
Head up probably I would use more in a deadlift than a squat because I don't think it's going to throw your hips in a weird place. Yeah. So like a sumo pull, even a conventional, you get to your knee and you say like traps back or like head back. Sometimes would lead someone or like face into face. A lot of coaching stuff I do is like more coaching than cues. Like a lot of times, man, you just can't think about a lot of shit when you're under a heavy ass barbell. You know what I mean?
And cues that like I give friends or my clients, they're very specific to each person.
For sure.
So
that's what I think everyone
so
misunderstands.
Yeah, that proves you're doing it right, I think.
Right, yeah. So it's hard to say one thing that's like a shitty cue.
Yeah, even a controversial one I would say for me is like knees out. I think that's probably an overrated squat cue. Like a very beginner that has no clue as they're going, their knees are going to go crazy, right? They're not going to rip an ACL under the weight. It's probably just, I've never heard of that once happening. Like most ACL tears are on a sprint, a power turn, or a twist from impact. I've never once actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, heard about someone ripping ACL under a barbell. Although it looks crazy, and some people's knees are fucking touching on a squat, and that's not a motor pattern we want to build up as an athlete or a squatter. And that person I might say, hey, we're going to try to get our knees not there, not touching each other. But knees out as a general cue, I don't think is going to be very efficient either, because like a lot of times for your quads to really flex in a squat, your knee or your patella is going to kind of track on your big toe anyways, and so like why try to like on the way down get my knee out to my pinky just for me to flex my quad and my knee to go to my, you know, and that's in a controlled lifter that already knows what they're doing. There's no, again, geared lifting, I get it, but even then, like if you're fucking squatting 700 pounds in a suit, you know your knee's going to go out, or you're not going to be able to control the weight and your knee's going to go in. It's not because you weren't thinking knees out. It's just because you couldn't control the suit right there.
The universal cue for this is a sloppy rep would be to say tighten up.
Yeah.
And that one's not bad if you've pre-communicated what you mean by it.
Yeah, or I'll scream
or
like,
clean it up or something like that, you know?
Yeah, if people have like a big set, I'll say like find your pace or take your time or let it settle. I think there's a lot of cues like that are work a lot of people, right? Like if you see someone unracking some shit or they're rushing or you can see in their eyes they're panicking a little bit because they got a heavy set of 3 or 5, I'd say take your time or settle, let it, patience, let it rate.
That goes a long way, I think.
And I think that's something that could work for 90% to 100% of people. Like,
I think it's underrated too.
I think so too. But that again is just because you and I are around a lot of lifters a lot, and some people aren't. So they'll just pseudo coach people, or they did one. That's the typical story. They did one meet and now they're an online coach or whatever the fuck. If you're around a lot of lifters, a lot of things, smaller things, go further than trying to reinvent someone's form mid rep.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
But that's what those cues are, right? The knees out, the chest's up.
Let's see if we can form consensus around this. When you're giving somebody a cue, it should be because you've seen them lift better before, and you see them drifting from their perfect technique, and not under a max load.
Yeah, under a max load, it's like a reminder before a set. But yeah, people are screaming shit mid-set. Just like, and I don't want to negate that either because that's a little bit of the part of the culture. It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. Like mid-squat, someone screaming up, tight, push. Like that's part of the culture and that's kind of cool, like soccer fans chanting. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get rid of that either.
But the people can't hear it typically.
That's hopefully the goal, is that they're not looking to some rando in the audience for a real coaching cue.
Yeah.
You got another one that you hate?
No.
For you or just general, that pisses you off? Like you see it on Instagram or you hear it and you're like, dude, you're an idiot. Why are you saying that?
No, I don't have many, I give people the benefit of the doubt. So I don't have a lot of hot takes.
Oh, you haven't been around long enough.
Yeah, we need to hate more folks. You need to get a little more jaded.
Yeah, building some more hate in this community.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get more followers. Like, oh, this chick hates everything that
would be really
does.
good.
She thinks she's the best out there.
I had a hot take Tuesday, and I'll give it to you. You can take hot take Tuesday and just bash somebody.
I can try, but I don't know if I'll be good at it, to be honest.
Mine were just random. Like Oreos are the most overrated cookie on the planet. Or snack.
I think I'm going to start getting offended.
You think Oreos? You don't think Oreos are overrated?
I like Oreo Thins.
Look,
I love
dude,
cookies. Cookies are my thing.
If this table's full of Oreos right now, I'm fucking eating them. That's not what I'm saying. We got to understand what under and overrated means. They're not a good cookie. If you're like, man, I really would like some baked goods right now. That's what I'm craving. You're going to grab a fucking stale piece of cocoa with fake cream in it?
No, but I'm not going to get upset about it.
What are the cookies you slam? I see you slam cookies all the time. That's like your thing. Sugar cookies?
Sugar cookies.
Of all cookies, it's a sugar cookie.
I don't know why I get addicted to something. I have a big sweet tooth.
What's the difference, Cookie Master, between a snickerdoodle and a sugar cookie? Just the cinnamon?
Yes, but also there's the only thing I can think of is the cream of tartar, which is in.
That's it.
Oh, what? Tartar. What the fuck did you just say? Yeah, tartar?
Tartar.
Is it actually?
Cream of tartar, yeah. That's the difference.
Oh.
It's yes.
I'm surprised I knew that.
Yes.
Cream of tartar, huh?
We're confirming with people who actually bake cookies.
That's fancy. Okay, so my hate on you then, my disagreeable there, is I see the sugar cookies you get, and that frosting, I haven't had the exact ones you got, but that style of frosting is often trash.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't like that sugar cookie. The frosted sugar cookie.
That's what I thought you eat all the time.
No, I say that the ones that are like the sugar, the colorful sugar.
Oh, it's more like it's like a Appalachian Mountain salt, but sugar.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
think
kind of
those
deal.
sugar cookies are better than the frosted cookies.
Yeah, the frosted's trash for some reason. Although some places bang, like Crumble. That one day we had it. Yeah. Some of their frosting's good. You know the best frosting on the fucking planet, and I'm not even. I'll shut the podcast off if you guys want to fight this. Is Dairy Queen's ice cream cake frosting?
Oh, not had it, but it probably is fine.
It's fucking insane. Yeah. Like Baskin Robbins ice cream cake's like good, but something with their frosting still that shames sugar shit, or it's like plasticky tasting. Something, I swear, it might even just be ice cream. Maybe Dairy Queen's duped me. But there's like cake, and then Dairy Queen style ice cream, like a hard froyo. And then their frosting is like the love child between the best frosting you've ever had and froyo.
Well, now we need to try it.
No, it's fucking insane.
I've never had Dairy Queen.
Ever?
Is there one in Sacramento? I don't
Yeah,
know.
There's like 3.
So, yeah.
They're hard to find. You gotta know. You got to be part of the Illuminati, the ice cream Illuminati.
Okay.
I'm starting it. You can join.
Thank you.
Those cookies that you're talking about, though, not the Dairy Queen ones, but the ones that we had in here.
Yeah, crumble.
Yeah, that is proof to me that Kyle is never going to be a fat kid. He does not have the credentials.
He ate like
to be
half of them.
He ate like this much. Put them in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
and they were here for a month.
And they were good
in the fridge.
I actually think they're kind of overrated too. They're good.
I could have pounded a nail into a 4x4 with them by the time that I threw them out because he was out with COVID.
That's why I start to buy all this stuff and bring it here, because if it's at my house, I can't not eat it.
You can't cope.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
Dairy Queen ice cream cake, for those out there, life-changing.
Now I know.
It's literally my favorite substance on the planet. I've never done meth or heroin, so those might win, but as of the substance I've tried, it's Dairy Queen ice cream.
Maybe.
You made a meth joke the other day. You shocked me. I thought you were so innocent. She made like a fucking drug joke out of nowhere else.
I didn't think you'd pick up on it.
Yeah, I fucking got it.
Maybe
You're crack. I think you made a
that.
crack joke.
Yeah, they don't need to know that.
No, I highly judged you, and now the whole world knows you do crack.
Well, now I have some personality, because up till now it's just like she just lifts. She's not that home.
Yeah.
She's not.
She lifts heavy weights, and she's a
doesn't really
cocky
know.
crack doer.
Yeah, yeah. I need to rebrand myself.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll get the sponsorships.
Well,
for
a little
sure.
a little at a time, though.
Okay.
Like you just sort of dole it out.
I do think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think you missed the subtleness of that one.
Yeah. It's just 0 to 100.
That's what it was.
It's either complete like modesty or just super cocky.
Yeah.
It's either no personality or
Yeah.
does crack.
It's either doesn't drink coffee and smokes crack. Caffeine's bad for you. No GMO and straight to crack cocaine.
Can't do any hot takes.
I've seen crack. It kind of blew my mind. I was like sheltered, but not crazy sheltered. But I think I'm allowed to talk about it now.
I have no idea.
I was on the jury deal, but this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're passing around crack in a bag. And I'm like, what the fuck is I'm 23 at the time. Yeah, like
rubbing it on your gums to see
crack
if
no,
it's
it's like
good
a
stuff.
fucking crystal, you know? It's fucking insane.
Well, that's why you wet your finger first. And then
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I've
Jim
seen
is
like the coke.
experienced.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I'm just.
Oh yeah. I
Me
no clue.
neither.
neither. Is it
Plug
hot in
away.
here?
Where can people find you, Avi?
Instagram at avi.lieu, so avi.lieu, and that's pretty much it.
Not a Twitter? You're not on TikTok yet?
None of that. I just couldn't. I tried, and then I've never opened those apps.
All right, we're going TikTok next. We're branding now.
Yeah, I'll
TikTok.
get you guys to help me manage that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we could do it. I'm selling Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get involved with this question, one good question, you win a prize if we choose your question, but you got to join Discord. If you don't know what Discord is, basically a big old group chat, forum group chat mixed. It's an app that we use. A lot of people use it. You may be familiar, but if you go to 50percentfacts.com, we have a link to our personal Discord. It's called our server. That's where good company hangs out. So if you want exclusives, if you want special sales, all previews, if you want to chat with us, we're in there all day talking shit. On the left, there's different groups. So we have the group chat. That's where all that goes down. There's also one good question. You can go in there and ask us absolutely anything. If we choose your question, you'll be featured on today's episode every Friday and win a prize from us. Get involved. I'm selling Mike where you want to find me. 3sb.co for all your clothes. 50percentfacts.com. thirdstreetbarbell.com. And tomorrow, if you're listening to this today, July 9th, open gym. Come to Third Street Barbell, 8 a.m. to noon. Free open gym, free day pass. Just come kick it, come slam some weights, buy some merch, buy an energy drink, and we'll see you there.
I am at the Jim McDonald, all those social media. This show is 50% Facts. We are a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we will talk to you next week. Thanks, Avi.
Thank you.